Welcome to another episode of An Inside Job. We got it straightened out, and this is show number 52. And I'm back with my good friend, Danny, and we're having some real good, go ahead, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say disturbing.
Disturbing. So we're going to keep going on that. So we're still talking about the epidemic. We do not have the focus, just like Itaka, we don't have the focus. Everybody, this is my opinion, everybody's either running from something or running to claw out a living, the kids, the whole thing. But if you were to talk to somebody about losing a person to this disease, then it would change, I believe, everything for you. I lost my granddaughter about 3 years now, OD'd. She went into a facility, a nice one, and they had told us they were wondering about her, but she became a star. Where the program was Spectrum, one of the places, Worcester, Massachusetts. They run a tight ship, a good ship, but she went there. She was a star. She was doing everything she had to do. And then she met up with a woman as, you know, the detox romance, as they say, and she screwed up, and they kicked her out, and of course the other girl left, and Ashley was dead 3 weeks later. So, you know, we're talking about programs. Boom, she's in there. She's loving sobriety. And then, like that, we know how we've experienced how difficult it can be to remain sober. The numbers are astounding. You know, how many will stay sober out of 10 people going out? You know, what's your guess?
I don't know if I'm qualified to make a guess, but you know, as far as my experience in AA
This
or
is
something.
people that relapse in let's say the first year.
Ooh, well, as far as people who are exposed to treatment and recovery, and the ones who follow through with it, I don't know I'd have to rely on the somebody wiser than me, you know, to say whether it was 5% or 10% or 15%.
I'd say 70%. I'll say 60%. How many people do we see coming in the program?
No, I mean, as far as I would say 3, 5, 15% are the ones that do make it.
Oh,
not the ones that relapse. You would say 70% relapse, yeah. But I think one thing that's certain, you know, you had brought up the political debate last night, and I think that one idea is approaching it, you know, police-wise or something. You know, I think the idea, and that people are frustrated, and of course they want to say, wow, you know, it's out, you know, I'm a clean-cut parent or somebody that's outside of the thing, you know, and removed from it, removed from the scene of addiction and so forth. And I would say, oh my God, stamp it out, you know, and so then you'd say, okay, call the police, have them arrest and punish somebody who's guilty. Now, you know, that's one way, that's a way that it gets looked at a lot of times. And so in the old days, they would say, the addict, he's guilty, he's got the drug, lock him up. And then, so maybe now that some time has passed and some things have happened, and they're looking at it more deeply, and I would like it not just to be a further wrong approach of saying, okay, it's not the addict, it's the dealer. Who's the dealer? The pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
Punish them,
right.
You know? Well, yeah, I mean, that's like after the horse is out of the barn or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because, restriction, as we were talking about in the last segment, restriction of access will you know, go a long way to preventing the problem. But I think one thing we want to look at is what are the questions that addiction brings up? You know, what is it in a, and Bill Wilson, when he was hammering out,
explain who Bill Wilson is.
Bill Wilson, the founder of the AA program, you know, joint founder with Dr. Bob and a bunch of other crazy people, lunatics running the streets. But he communicated, and I've read some of the his communications with Carl Jung when they were trying to get a handle on, you know, how do we get the first 100 people in the world sober? Mm-hmm. You know, what they came up with, basically, you know, roughly speaking, was that the thirst or the hunger for a substance, and the uncontrollable, or the rapacious, whatever, that's in the big book somewhere, rapacious, but that apparently, you know, that hunger and that thirst and that craving for something, you know, parallels a spiritual hunger and thirst, and you know, at least, you know, it's not quite that simple. Of course, it's never that simple, and I would refer anybody to you know, Bill Wilson's writings and Carl Jung's writings, and you know, a million other people, but they, you know, which is why I think today, you know, well, you know, again, I can only speak for myself, but you know, I view recovery as a spiritual process, a regeneration and redirection of an individual's, you know, the forces of nature that come through us as individuals, and you know, it has to do with a craving to learn and to experience. And again, I believe you know, the God, in my view, is not a concept. It's an experience. You know, that's why it's beyond words. And as far as to me, debates about you know, atheism and agnosticism and all that, it's just semantics to me. I mean, if you said, I mean, well, that's a whole other subject, but you know, for another time. But if you were to say that what exists as the you know, the fundamental conscious energizing force that animates the universe or something, call that God, you know, it would just be a matter of you would just be being contentious if you would say, you know, I don't think there is a, you know, a force that animates the universe or something. You know, it's just a matter of would you, you know, for the sake of argument, let's call that God or the ground of being or the totality of all things or all power, all presence, all knowledge, all force. Okay, that's God. So, you know, so everything comes down to you know, spirituality in my view. But, you know, getting back to the point with
yeah, let's do that.
yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I've been saying.
You're calling from Nirvana.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. I got to get back to the point. But it's, you know, I think addressing the problem of addiction by, you know, providing more recovery. First of all, conducting research to see if we can indicate, you know, what are the elements that make the phenomenon of addiction, you know, most prevalent and active or something. So how can we, you know, limit that stuff, and then say, what is the best possible type of recovery program that we can provide to, you know, once a person has become addicted.
Yeah. We as a nation, I mean, of course it went before Reagan, and that's about 50 years ago, I think. Of course, before that, because it's been forever, booze, forever. Do you know it took at least 100 years to get booze out of society? Probation, Ken Burns' probation. 100 years, and they finally gave up, just like the weed thing now. And now I lost my point, and it was a good one.
I'll give you that point.
Okay. Match point. We've been fighting this thing for 50 years. Let's just go back for 50 years.
In this country,
the
you mean?
war on the war on drugs. How much did that cost us, right? And I'm not going into conspiracy. I know that there was all kind of shit going on with guns and everything else, and
money.
And money. Because it all comes back to money. And that I'll get to that. Okay, so Ronald Reagan's wife, so Ronald Reagan was throwing all this dough out there to stop drugs from coming in. Now, I ask you this. If an addict wants to get high, finish that sentence.
He or she will find a way.
A way.
Even if he has to, boil down barbed wire and toilet paper
Right.
and ferment
He's going to
it.
get something. Yeah. There's that thing in Russia where they're shooting this drug that actually takes the skin off their body. And they're still doing it. They're still doing it. So it's the why. But that hasn't worked, the whole war on drugs.
Yeah, framing it as a war and a police problem.
Right.
Or military police problem.
Mass incarceration. We're the most people in it's an industry. I'm skipping around, but there is money, of course, available to do these programs. Methadone clinics, all right? It is an industry. And I was talking to a friend in AA, a lawyer, and he says it's a very profitable business. You go in, you don't come out the other door. You stay in there, getting a dose a day. There's one very close by. 800. I toured it with Susan. 860 people coming a day, and the doses aren't really going on.
Maybe if we convince the powers that be that, okay, you want to make money, fine. We'll meet you halfway, and we'll devise a recovery system to where you can make your money off it, but it's a real, a real vital program that we can work that's effective or something. I always say, like, well, again, I go to, very far plays of the mind, but let's take all the people. Who wants to be a millionaire? You. Okay, here's your $1 million. Now get the out of the way and let us conduct the process of life over here. Go take your money, take your power, take your fame, take your ego, and go play in the doggy park over there.
That's quite a thought there, buddy. But it's true. I mean, there's the industry of incarceration, with one of the strongest unions in America is the what do they call COs? The guards, right? Strongest union, and it just keeps getting bigger. And then the privatized prison, money.
That's why the idea of dropping out always appealed to me. Let's take all the addicts and we'll all drop out, give them the money, and we'll hash out the whole thing.
I believe that we have to change lives. Okay, you were abandoned, you were abused, you were, what do they call it, a latchkey kid, your parents didn't have time, and it goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and in the real world, which I occasionally participate in, I realize that you can't separate the good from the evil, and because I'm one who would say, heaven is through that door. Okay, see you later. I'm going. And that's not. It hasn't served me well in my own life. I have to learn to take it a step at a time, a day at a time. And I'm in the process of embracing the daily experience of living, working on it, at this time.
You've been sober 38 years, correct? Mm-hmm. I've been sober 37 years. We know we have had to work our ass off to remain sober. Not just going to meetings. We both meditate. You follow a path of Buddhism. I follow a path of Taoism, the philosophy.
I think the other. Well, I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to interrupt you. I think the idea of something that was occurring to me earlier in my day was the idea of. How much work on a daily basis, in my experience, recovery. The recovery process is a task and it is work for me on a daily basis. I have to. I mean, because as you can see already from. Few things I say here, my mind is ready to go. And so I have to work hard on a daily basis to stay here and stay focused and be present and participate and experience what's here, and to not constantly question, well, why this lesson? Or why here? and just say, okay, I've been given what I need, by life, by God, by crazy friends, whatever. I've been given some things to work on, and so I have to accept it and work on that. But I think, recovery is, for me and other people I know, that have been successful, a day at a time. It's a constant process of work to overcome the negative tendencies. And for me, it's depression and, anxiety and depression and stuff like that, and negative thinking that I have to constantly input into myself, books and teachers and podcasts and documentaries and meetings, in-person meetings, and constantly inputting that stuff into myself.
It's an inside job.
Exactly.
It's an inside job. Both of us never wanted to have, when we first came around, counselors that weren't sober. They didn't understand anything. I wouldn't have done it. I knew that from the beginning. We have to have people in the know. You got to get a drunk sober or an addict in there paying attention. Some of the best workers and around. I believe that we have to heal people, all right? A place as, just give us, 25 million out of that $1 trillion a year, and let's try something new. I believe what we're doing is just throwing money against the wall or throwing money into people's pockets, because...
And whoever's got the best catcher mitt and the best butterfly net gets the most money.
No, maybe not. We won't. The addict is treated like crap. Looked down on, most likely very, very sick, like me. Very, very sick. I got sober when I was 34, and I caused a lot of damage. So, I had lost everything. I tried to commit suicide 3 times. I didn't know anything about A. How do I begin? How do we begin?
I think one of the most profound things I ever heard in a meeting was when someone was going on at length about what was troubling them and so forth, an alcoholic or an addict in the meeting, and saying, oh, no, I apologize for taking up all your time with all this problems I have and everything. And somebody said, alcoholics are problem people. We have problems. And if the addict or the alcoholic can, admit, and if we can provide them with an atmosphere or an environment where they can say, yeah, I'm hurting, I'm crazy, I'm sick, I don't know what, I just don't know, I'm a problem. Life is a problem for me. Daily experience is a problem. And, of course, we, say sarcastically about the, or sardonically about the, earth people, supposed, non-alcoholic addicts that would say, what's your, what's your problem?
Right.
What are you so complicated for? And the addict and the alcoholic says, I don't know, but I am, help me. And so if we can, first of all, accept someone coming in as a raw, only other people that have been through it can say, okay, you're a raw nerve, and there's 16 of you sitting right over here. Come and have a chair. Come in. It's okay. You can hurt that much in here. You can talk about it, and and let's address that. Maybe it's taking the when you remove the substance, then you see the pain, the raw pain. And the addict, alcoholic in recovery, that's his first thing. Oh my God, now all I have is this pain, and then okay, then that's our job. Those of us who participate in the recovery experience,
we're going to be coming to an end. I just want to say a couple of things. Down in Worcester, Massachusetts, they have a high school just for kids with problems with drugs and booze. I haven't been in yet, but I want to go. But also they have a drug court, and I think we have about 3 in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I've read about that.
And I go down to Worcester, and I just watch, and it really. It's along the lines of AA and NA. The person they got a choice. You want to go back to jail, or you want to do this program for a year? Of course, they come. The judge is great. I wish I had his name, because, man, he is on the beam with this thing. How you doing? You don't have anything added in your file. You haven't got in trouble. They do drug tests. You got 6 months. Here's a chip, all right? And everybody applauds. Everybody applauds. And that's just one part of this thing. We have to heal the addict. And I believe they have to be away from society, not having to face the world, not going into a detox, and because of the insurance, 3 to 7 days later, woo, back up and out in the world. That's even if you can get in, and it could be weeks. You're waiting out weeks with no help, and then
and getting physically detoxed and psychically, that's just part of it. That's just the first piece.
Right.
And I think I don't know what the detox process is for opiates and stuff. I know a bit about alcohol, but I think after the detox, the recovery is the same.
Yeah. This was a good one for me because we got to talk about this stuff. And I work very hard at trying to get the word out. This show, An Inside Job, it's on YouTube. Search LTV. Go to playlist and scroll down to An Inside Job. That's it. That's another wrap. I want to get Danny back just because he gives me stuff. Thank you.